It's time to get your morning started with the news you need to know.
News update.
This is what's trending with DJ and PK. Hashtag NFL.
Shotgun, Marshall into the game. Larvidan right to the short side left. Shador under pressure. Shador gunning. End zone sliding. Catch. That's a touchdown. Put him up. It's another one for Caden Davis. And the Browns take the lead. Shador Sanders has his second touchdown throw of the first half.
And this ball's coming out. There's your speed depth. There it goes. Oh, there he goes. It's already a new season. The number 2 draft pick.
Holy smokes. They got a shot.
He just kicked a 70-yard field goal. Are you kidding me?
Crazy.
I've never seen that. The NFL record. That would be an NFL record.
Holy smokes.
That's unbelievable.
Highlights from the first full weekend of preseason action. Justin Tucker has the record with a 66-yard field goal in a regular season game. Cam Little makes a 70-yarder in a preseason game. Handful of local guys get a chance to play and make an impression. Anybody impress you, PK?
I actually did watch Jackson Dart. You know, I got a little back issue, so I got to do some stretching. And it was Saturday morning, and I flicked on the television, and I didn't know there was a game on. Then I said, is this game live? And then I went and checked. Oh, yeah. And Russell Wilson, I thought, he's only going to play a series or two. I'll just wait it out. And I did wait it out, and I thought Dart looked pretty good.
12 of 19 for 154 yards. He threw a touchdown, led him a couple field goal drives. Wilson played that opening series, and then Dart took over and played the rest of the first half. So,
hey, you know everything, don't you?
Acquitted himself.
Very impressive.
So well.
How'd you know that?
I had the stats right in front of me right there.
Oh, who knew? You got stats in front of you?
Yep. Got to stay on brand, PK. Got to stay on brand.
You had the stats. Wow.
Zach Wilson got to start for the Dolphins. Tua didn't play. Wilson was 5 of 9 for 96 yards. Led him on a touchdown drive. Well, actually, I think on a couple of touchdown drives. So, solid performance out of him. And Tyler Huntley came on in the fourth quarter for Cleveland and led him to a touchdown and a field goal.
The stats tell you that Russell Wilson only played a series?
Yeah, if you go into the play-by-play, you can see
Did you go into play-by-play?
I did.
Wow, good for you. Never would have thought to do that.
Some of the local guys and what they did. Well,
Love
you didn't have to. You were stretching out your back.
Well, stats bore me, so, and they excite you, so that's a perfect match.
Jay Tuafele, former Bingham High star, went to USC, recovered a fumble in the end zone for the Jets. So you got to
Stats
celebrate.
are for losers.
Yeah, there it is. Or guys who are trying to make teams.
But only in football.
In baseball, they're everything.
I think to a good degree, yeah. But football is a stat you can dominate statistically and still lose.
Right. Eagles Pro Bowl left guard Landon Dickerson was helped off the practice field before being carted into the team facility after suffering a right leg injury during practice. He's going to have an MRI. It didn't look good. Rondale Moore, Vikings wide receiver, missed all last season, was injured on the first play of the scrimmage Saturday night. Moore injured his left knee after a dislocated right knee cost him all of 2024. Dak Prescott told Rams owner Stan Kroenke, "We'll meet y'all in the NFC Championship game." LA Rams lost in the divisional round last year while the Cowboys finished 7-10.
How do you say in or at? Because that's two different things.
In.
Okay.
DJ and PK.
Hashtag college football.
What I will say is it's not going to be keeping equal reps forever. There's going to be a point pretty soon, not ready to say exactly when, but there's going to be a time pretty soon where we're going to have to start establishing a pecking order and getting somebody more reps with the ones and twos, and maybe somebody's going to get a little bit less. If we keep going the way we're going forever, then nobody will be ready to play in our first game. So that move will be happening soon. I would need to watch the tape, and I need to discuss this with my staff and with Kalani before we decide how and when we're going to do that.
That's Aaron Roderick right there, offensive coordinator for BYU.
Yeah, I can relate. Before we make any moves, I usually look at the tape and and discuss it with my staff and let you guys have a say.
Thanks.
I mean, I need you guys to do your 1/4.
I appreciate the collaborative approach.
Because, I'll handle half. You two handle the other half.
PK and the Jordanaires. There it is.
Want to do I just need each of you do your 1/4, and then I'll review it, and we'll be okay.
Didn't it sound to you like he knows exactly what he wants to do, but he wants to double-check it on the film? And
No,
you don't think so? He just knows
exactly. I don't know that he knows exactly.
Okay, he doesn't know exactly until he sees the film, but he's got a pretty good idea.
Well, if they don't have a pretty good idea, what have they been doing for the last 12 days? Right?
Waiting for it to sort itself out.
There's no way they're the only school in the entire game that has three quarterbacks.
Yeah.
I mean, this is not the way the game is played these days.
He had other things to say about other position groups. Carson Ryan is the starting tight end, and it sounds like whether it's a 3rd and 2 or 3rd and 12, passing situation, running situation, doesn't matter. Carson Ryan's the guy.
Well, yeah, I don't think that's any big surprise.
And he is very confident they're going to have a good running game.
And that made me a little nervous.
Because?
Because you emphasize what you do the best. And he didn't say we're going to be balanced. He said we're going to be able to run the ball.
Yeah.
And that, I wondered if that meant that, wow, man, we're a little nervous about the quarterbacks. And I know they're nervous about starting a freshman. I mean, I simply know it. But if they have to, they will. Because they were dealt a raw deal.
Surprise.
And you have to give them a little slack. The coaching staff. I mean, they had been planning. Last year, maybe they might have done some things different if they knew they had 2 senior quarterbacks.
Might have had somebody there getting prepped, getting ready to go. And when the game allowed for it, get them in and get them a few snaps.
Right. But, everything was out of whack. And I suppose you could say, well, that's just the nature of quarterbacks in the game.
In this era.
Because you can transfer immediately and be eligible. So, but, I mean, that's not what they were planning. This is a 2-year deal. And now they got cut short. So you're going to have to allow for that and see what they can develop.
Colorado coach Deion Sanders said the Buffaloes will win differently, but we're going to win. I don't know if it's going to be the Hail Marys at the end of the game, but it's going to be hell during the game.
It's going to be hell during the game?
That's what it says. Yeah. It's going to be hell during the game.
Well, the hell with them.
Baylor running back Dawson Pendergrass, who was a second leading rusher in 2024, will miss the 2025 season due to a foot injury that's going to require surgery. Dave Aranda sharing that news. Pendergrass ran for 671 yards and 6 touchdowns. So that's a blow. And longtime NFL coach John Gruden said he'd enjoy coaching at the collegiate level, particularly in the SEC. At a speaking engagement with the Georgia Bulldogs over the weekend, he said, the only reason I really came here is I want to coach again. I'm being honest with you. I do not BS either. I want to coach again. I'd die to coach in the SEC. I'd love it. I would bleeping love it. Think anyone's going to trust him with a college program? I mean, he'd love to coach in the NFL, but that isn't happening, and he's just watched Bill Belichick make the move to North Carolina.
Yeah, hardly anything surprises me, man. So, sure. They trusted that idiot Herm Edwards with the program.
DJ and PK.
Hashtag Major League Baseball.
And the next pitch swung on, belted deep to right field, a line shot, and it's gone. Goodbye, baseball. There's number 45, and Cal Raleigh didn't waste any time.
Swing and a high drive, left field, moving back to the fence, it's out of here! Ernie Clement with a go-ahead shot on the first pitch of the 9th, and the Blue Jays lead again, 5-4.
2-2. Fly ball to deep right. It is back. Soto back. Out of here. Isaac Collins walks it off against the Mets. You can't make it up.
Highlights from around Major League Baseball. The Brewers sweep the Mets. They've won 9 in a row now as Isaac Collins hits the walk-off. Mets had an early 3-zip lead. Brewers come all the way back and win again. They can do no wrong, PK. Sometimes when it's rolling, and for the Brewers, it's been 2 months now.
Yeah, and them and the Mariners are 9-1 in their last 10. And Cleveland's 8-2.
Mariners beat the Rays 6-3. Cal Raleigh hit his MLB best 45th home run as Seattle made it 7 straight victories. Also, Seattle Mariners retired Ichiro's number. He recently went into the Baseball Hall of Fame. He said, "I'm damn proud to be a Seattle Mariner." Just like him, referring to Ken Griffey Jr., he said, "I realized by going away there really is no place like home."
No, yeah, him and Dorothy.
Jose Altuve, career home run number 2.
I think it's Altuve.
Altuve.
Rather than Altuve.
Career home run number 250.
Altuve or Altuve? That is the question.
For a second baseman, that is a lot of home runs.
Oh, for a shortstop, too.
Only 11 people who primarily played second base have hit 250 home runs.
I went and saw Ernest in concert over the weekend, opening for Old Dominion.
Mm-hmm.
And he played junior college baseball. And his childhood buddy growing up played baseball together for years and years. Mookie Betts.
Nice.
Yeah, how about that?
They've gone their separate ways, but both had a lot of success.
Yeah, I think they're still boys, but yeah.
Yeah, separate career paths would have been better.
Yeah, he got to play junior college, which, I mean, to play junior college ball, you got to be decent.
Yeah, you got to be good.
Yeah. And then Mookie
And
obviously
depending on
went
where he played, you might have to be really good.
Yeah, I think it was Tennessee down there.
Cardinals beat the Cubbies 3-2. They win 2 out of 3 in that series. Cubbies now 6 games behind the streaking Milwaukee Brewers. Bees beat the Aviators 6-3 in the series finale. They are now headed to Sugar Land, Texas for a series that starts tomorrow. DJ and PK.
Hashtag NBA.
Opening night for the NBA is going to feature the Houston Rockets at the champs. The Oklahoma City Thunder will get to raise their banner. And
Can't wait.
And the Warriors and Lakers in the other doubleheader.
Yeah.
Christmas Day games are out. Cavaliers play the Knicks. The other 4 games are all Western teams. Spurs and Thunder, Rockets, Lakers, Mavs, Warriors, Wolves, Nuggets. The West has been better and deeper than the East for a long time, and it's certainly more marketable judging by all those games. There's 7 high-profile games, and there's only 1 game involving Eastern teams.
No, they feed us the same teams over and over again.
Boston Celtics give Joe Mazzulla a long-term contract extension. Details not provided. NBA free agent guard Malik Beasley, who is under investigation in a federal gambling probe, was evicted from his apartment in Detroit. He's been sued by his landlord twice this year over unpaid rent, which is now over $21,000. It's not going well for Malik. DJ and PK.
Hashtag RSL.
Gozo continues to impress. Everything that we ask of him, he's doing in spades. And for him to get the goal, I think was really important for his confidence tonight, and obviously our team's confidence. Some really good actions in the second half with him and Juan up front. And again, I think for us, when you have 2 10s that can play those balls, the onus is really on our 9s to be able to think and work towards the stretch and create that space between the back line and the midfield line. And I think that's an area, especially with, Victor coming in the team and Juan coming in the team. They're both fast, they're both dynamic, and I think we'll be able to cause teams problems if we can find that balance between playing underneath and playing beyond.
Pablo Mastroeni and Xavier Gozo's play and the need for much more in the attack. Gozo scored in the 3rd minute. William got the assist, but it all started with a couple of good passes from Emeka Nelly and then a really good one from Diego Luna. But after that, New York dominating, outshooting RSL 24-7. Looked like RSL might hold on and it might end 1-1 and they might come home with a point. But 2 red cards, 2 penalties. One of the Reds went against New York. Multiple trips over to the VAR. The last 15 minutes were pretty wild. Pablo was screaming at the ref. That was an elbow. How did you miss it? But in the end, Red Bulls get a penalty and score 90 plus 9. Justin Glad contesting that one, but to no avail.
90 plus 9, is that another soccer term?
That is. So they added a lot of stoppage time because all the time the guy spent staring at that monitor on the far sideline.
Playage time. That could be stop when you're going. Didn't make any sense.
Making up for the time they were stopped. Utah Royals get shut out by the Kansas City Current, give up a goal in the 82nd minute. Held on for so long, but the one goal beat them. And they host Angel City Friday. DJ and PK.
How come we do Royals soccer, but we don't do, like, Utah women basketball, Utah BYU women volleyball? Why do we just, the only women who get any run is soccer on our show?
Yeah, why is that? Yeah, I mean, I read what you put in front of me, you know.
Way to pass the buck.
I know.
Nice. I mean, you did.
I suppose
you add stuff. You told us Lone Peak was in some Little League thing, and that wasn't on the board. You were trying to get some viewership there. You went down to Lone Peak Stadium and thought, there's something here.
No, I didn't. I did not go down there. And they ended up losing to Nevada 6-3.
A Little League manifesto. Yeah. Let's go.
Yes. All hail. Actually, the women's basketball, the women's volleyball does not get run. Not much at all.
And BYU is picked first, and Utah's picked fourth in a preseason poll. We got 2 NCAA teams. The Royals lose every game, and they get all the run, and Utah women volleyball and BYU volleyball get nothing.
Right. Women's basketball at the U has gotten some run. We've talked about that.
Yeah, if they win and go to the
NCAA
the Royals don't win.
No,
you two are not consistent in your logic.
Hashtag volleyball.
Jeez.
CJ and PK.
Maroon.
Hashtag golf.
Justin Rose, third playoff hole, beats J.J. Spahn to win the FedEx St. Jude Championship. Rose birdieing in the last 5 holes in regulation, and in the 3 playoff holes, he birdied 6 of the last 8 holes to come storming back and win. Tony Finau tied for 64th. His season comes to an end. We'll see if he plays in the fall or not, but he won't be playing here the next 2 weeks.
Oh, yeah. Well, there's a tournament, I think, in the state that a lot of people are expecting him to play.
Yep. Down to Black Desert. What is trending? Brought to you by Shamrock Plumbing. There's no job too big or too small. Get the personal touch with Shamrock Plumbing. Coming up, Pete Sousa, host Inside the Big 12, and Pete Sousa Show, as well as ESPN play-by-play commentator will join us. And Darnell Dixon, sports columnist and writer for the Daily Herald, coming up at 9 o'clock. A lot of college football on the way. Stay with us right here on The Zone.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I present...
This is JJ and Alex.
Joining us on the program right now, Steve Bartley is our Utah insider for KSLSports.com.
I think Wayshawn is going to be the bell cow. If there's going to be a 1,000-yard rusher, I think it's going to be Parker. And then I think Dampier takes a lot of that designed QB run stuff. That's still going to be an element, just not to the same extent that it was at New Mexico.
Do you think having to be that productive in the run game hurt him in the pass game, Dampier?
Ooh, that's a great
Because
question,
I'm wondering,
JJ.
the 12-12 touchdown to interception ratio.
And if they ask him to not run the ball as much and he's got to throw it more, he better be more efficient than 12
Did
and 12.
that lend to him being less efficient as a passer?
You know what's interesting? When you look at Devin Dampier's production, when he had a clean pocket, really encouraging numbers. I think he was 63% completion percentage, 9 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. You'll take that sort of production as a passer.
Catch JJ and Alex afternoons from 3 to 6. Presented by G2G Bars on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
DJ PK, it's 97.5 The Zone. We're joined by Pete Sousa. Pete Sousa, host of the Inside the 12 and the Pete Sousa Show, as well as ESPN play-by-play commentator. Pete, good morning.
Hey, guys. Great to be on with you. That means we are one step closer to the college football season and to figuring out the BYU quarterback situation. I would hope. We're getting there.
We are getting there. There's a lot of things to figure out. Everybody else we talked to about the Big 12 says there's at least 5, maybe 6 or 7, maybe even 8 teams that could win the Big 12. Do you believe that?
I do. I think we're going to find out pretty early on in the season who those teams will be. I don't think it'll be such a late blooming rose, let's say. If you think about last year, Arizona State was on the outside looking in as we got deep into October and certainly early in November. So there was separation, but it was late. I think that this year we'll see some of that separation early. And I don't think the conference, look, as somebody who covers the conference a lot, it's great to have parity, but you want a couple guys or a couple teams that are just going to be head and shoulders above the rest. So at the end of the season, you can be talking about 2, possibly 3 bids. And I think that is realistic for this conference. Certainly 2.
Yeah, you talk about that, and we've discussed that the need to be like the other two conferences or other three conferences, the power level. I guess if you want to put Clemson in there and maybe Florida State as far as the ACC in terms of getting a power with the opportunity of what we had to only build on it for 1 year, and I wonder if the three of the four teams, maybe Iowa State, can have a little sustaining. But I guess if you look at it, of the four teams who tied for first place last year, do you believe any of them, the question being, can have that staying power? Or do we look back and say, well, maybe it's Utah and they just had the injury last year, but if you go back to the Pac-12, they look like they're the team that can be that standout that everybody points to and that seems like every conference needs?
Yeah, I love that because Utah is a bit of a sleeping giant. And I think with Evan Dampier this year, I do think, and you always have to look at Kyle Whittingham and know that there is not going to be two consecutive seasons in a row that are down like that. And around the conference, as far as staying power, I look at Utah as a team that could emerge this year and really start something off, right, as a member of the Big 12. Another team that scares me in a good way is Texas Tech. Now, you look at all they got the three best transfers you could possibly say in the conference over the course of the offseason. Lee Hunter up front playing defensive line, Simpson offensive tackle, and I think the other guy, great offensive outside linebacker. And with Texas Tech and all that, the money they have now, of course there'll be a cap on that coming up in the next year. But they seem to mean business. I think the only issue with a school like Texas Tech is if you constantly try to retool and revamp every year, you have situations like the offensive line, and you guys know this, that takes a while to have your offensive guard and offensive tackle gelling on a trap play or whatever it is. You can't put that in a microwave. So it's going to be really interesting just to see over the course of the next few years how teams adjust to this new era in college football and how the chemistry, right? Like who passes the chemistry tests. But I think Texas Tech is a team that could have staying power. Colorado, something is going on there. I think this year we'll find out if they can win without superstars. Maybe this team is for real. Kansas State, you always have to keep an eye on and worry about. And this year, I think that with Avery Johnson having a second year as a starter, that's another contender. Of course, Baylor, they lost their second-string running back, Dawson Prendergast, over the course of the weekend to an injury. But when you look in their backfield, Bryson Washington is a stud. Sawyer Robertson, obviously, has emerged as a marquee quarterback in the conference and maybe the country. And defensively, you always have to worry about them because Dave Aranda has really decided he's going to be the one calling the shots, and he showed last year. That's a very good idea for this team.
Even though everybody thinks it's like the Kentucky Derby at the start of the race with 20 horses spread across the track, a lot of these teams, if it turns out to be Baylor, we're all going to say, well, it's obvious that they figured it out at the middle of last season and now they've kept it rolling, right? In retrospect, the storyline will be clear for some of these teams. You didn't mention Iowa State there, and I'm curious what you think of Rocco Becht, a third-year starter. If they have the big year, we know it's going to be, they invested in a quarterback, and now Rocco's in his third year, so of course he took off. But they lost their top wide receivers to the NFL. They're trying to replace him with transfer portal guys. Do you believe they've done that?
Well, I think even if they haven't, that Matt Campbell's 3-5-5 or that defense, right? I mean, it's dangerous, man. That 3-3-5. Excuse me. I was never good at math. I had to take finite math at Richmond to make sure I graduated. But that defense is always going to keep them in games and with a facilitator like Rocco Becht who does just enough. I know Rocco pretty well just because I played football against his dad in Philly. And then we both went separate ways in college. Obviously we went the drastic separate ways, Anthony to a first round draft pick and me to a college bust at the University of Richmond. But Rocco Becht knows the rhythms of college football and he knows the rhythms of what success looks like. And there's no better leader for Iowa State or any other team in the Big 12, really, than Rocco Becht. I think when you have a quarterback like that who doesn't make many mistakes, you do lose those two prolific wide receivers. But defensively, I think they always will stay above the fray and in games. And, of course, I mean, look, BYU, for me, is always in contention. And if you think about last year, I don't think I know Jake Retzlaff wasn't named starter until, it was down to the wire. So as much as, like you mentioned, we get this feeling of the retrospect, everything makes sense, right? But, the shotgun start you talked about, or the Kentucky Derby, it's like this a lot every year, right? And then somebody emerges. Could we be talking about, Trayson Bourget being, okay, this is the guy. Now this makes sense, right? Or is it going to be McKay Hillstead? Or Bear Bachmeier, right? But, when we find out who grabs that job and takes it, BYU is a team to be taken very, very seriously. And that's another team who I think could build quite the reputation and the staying power atop the Big 12. And that's one more thing, too. This conference, finally, for the first time in a few years, everybody's back. All the same teams, right? Even at Media Day this year, we weren't oh, welcome to the Big 12. No, everybody's back. And you feel like we've got a little bit of a footing here as a conference, and I'm really interested to see how that will play out.
Well, since the Sun Devils won and we need a team to emerge, I think you've given us permission to root for them. Is that fact?
I don't know about that. I don't know how that'll go over in Utah or Provo.
Oh, go over great with me. I don't care about the people of Utah because I graduated from there.
Look, here's my thought on the Sun Devils. And having not known your affiliation prior to the show, I stay the same way. I feel like without Cam Scadaboo, we're going to find out early, right, about Sam Levitt and the exposure that comes there. I mean, you can run the football. If you can throw the football. It's going to be much different this year for Arizona State and for Sam Levitt. He emerged last year as a guy who, when somebody has late season success, they become the flavor of the month. And why not, right? I mean, you show you can win in the postseason. And Arizona State almost got it done against who I think is probably the best team in the country coming back, Texas. I mean, they were a ball bouncing away or a right call by officials from advancing in the college football playoff. So you cannot be dismissive of Arizona State at all. I think there could be a bit of a hangover losing Cam Scadaboo, and I think we're going to find out a lot about Sam Levitt early on. Jordan Tyson is a reason why he could really succeed, and I think that we're going to learn a lot about Sam Levitt early on in the season, and I'm looking forward to that because with growth and another season, you could see great maturation and development into an elite quarterback. And that's one thing, by the way, guys, I haven't mentioned yet. This is a sexy league for one big reason, quarterback play. You look throughout the conference, and there are good quarterbacks everywhere. Even like a school like Arizona, we're not talking about Noah Fafita coming into the season. Colorado, right? They have a quarterback duel, two extremely talented young guys, and we're not really talking about them. We're talking about Avery Johnson. We're talking about, Baron Morton, right? We're talking about Arizona State, Sam Levitt, Sawyer Robertson. So there's a lot of interest in the quarterback room or the quarterback situation here in the Big 12. And that's something I'm really looking forward to because, quarterbacks move the needle. And I think there'll be a lot more focus on the Big 12 this year than there was last year. And I think that actually that can help propel another team maybe or move a team on the fringe closer to the college football playoffs.
Pete Sousa joined us. He is host of Inside the 12, covering the Big 12. He's also got the Pete Sousa Show as well as ESPN play-by-play commentator. You were right at the top of the interview when you said, the storyline here is, can the Big 12 get a second, maybe a third, but certainly a second team in? We know from watching the Pac-12 and with Utah in it, that was the storyline every year. Can they finally get a team in this 14 playoff? Can they get a team? It just over and over. And I'm looking for the marquee wins that can propel these teams. But if Baylor beats Auburn, are people just going to say, Auburn, it's not that big a deal. Everybody beats Auburn. If Utah beats UCLA, is UCLA going to go 5-7 again? Where is the potential win? ASU's going to Mississippi State. It doesn't seem like that will carry a lot of juice. Texas Tech scheduled Oregon State, but now Oregon State's not in the power league. That just kind of changed. I don't know what Texas Tech was supposed to do about that. Iowa State and Kansas State are playing each other, so that doesn't give you a chance to win outside the league. I'm looking Colorado, Georgia Tech. Where could the big win come?
Well, I think, honestly, a lot of the big wins are going to – I think you mentioned, you have an opportunity now with some of these non-conference games who you expected to be – maybe your opponent was going to be a little more high profile and help your standing. Now these are winnable games. So for Baylor, it's an opportunity to – if you can go 2-0 against Auburn and SMU as you head into that Arizona State game, you've given yourself some grace and some wiggle room in the conference, right? So I believe that if you can get out of the non-conference unscathed, you do give yourself a little bit more room within the Big 12 if you're looking for an at-large bid. And I think opposite, really. I think Auburn could have a really good season, but early on the road in Waco on a Friday night, they're vulnerable. But even though right now they are the favorite in that game, and Baylor's kind of the hot pick right now. So that is a little revealing that Auburn is favored on the road going into Baylor. I'm not saying I put too much credence with that, but that there's something there. But I believe those non-conference games are opportunities now to win and to get out of the non-conference for some of these teams unscathed, with BYU. You got Portland State, okay. That's almost another exhibition week, so you can figure out your quarterback situation if need be. And then you've got Stanford, winnable, East Carolina. I think that we're talking so much about that game being like a trap game that I think that they're going to be ready for that, and they should be able to get through the non-con 3-0. And again, then you have a little bit of grace, right? Because you would hope, and now I'm being a shill for the conference, but bear with me. You would hope a team like Texas Tech or Arizona State just emerges and runs through the conference like a hot knife through butter. And then you get a couple more of these teams. Like we mentioned, you go through the non-con unscathed. And I think the Big 12 is going to be good enough this year where there'll be more than 3 ranked teams, right, like throughout the season. I think last year that was somewhat unfortunate as we got till late in the year. There just weren't that many teams. We were pushing to get teams in the top 25, like respect for BYU and Colorado. I think this year we won't have to be going to bat for teams like that.
Yeah, I think in terms of eyeballs, it may be TCU and North Carolina for obvious reasons.
Yeah, that'll be a lot of fun to see Bill Belichick, and I really can't wait to see Trent Battle. Everybody likes to talk about Josh Hoover, but TCU's got a running back there. And yeah, what's Bill Belichick got up his sleeve? I don't know. We're going to find out. But I don't believe in. I think one of you guys touched on it earlier. It was either DJ or PK, obviously, because that's who I'm talking to. But there was a mention of the ACC, and I'll tell you what, that conference does not scare me at all. And it just doesn't. I think maybe they're a tad overrated because Clemson kind of buoys the rest of the conference. But I don't worry about a school like North Carolina taking on TCU. I just don't. I think TCU should handle business.
How many coaches in this league are on the hot seat?
Man, that's a tough question. I think when you look at Cincinnati, that could possibly be a deal there. Most of the coaches now, I would think, are in good standing. People are talking about Mike Gundy, and I'm surprised at how quickly the Stillwater folks have sort of not turned on him, but I think that Mike Gundy can be flippant sometimes, and I think that can offend the fan base, and I think that can offend, whether it's the Board of Regents or whoever is high profile up in the university. But, that was, I think, his first losing season in like 20-some years last year. And although there's question marks for that team, I don't worry about Mike Gundy. I think that they bounce right back. And you look around the conference, Sonny Dykes, maybe, but I mean, that was the guy who played in the national championship a few years ago. I don't worry too much about too many coaches being on the hot seat right now because you've got Scott Frost just starting off in UCF, right? Obviously, Coach Prime in Colorado is in good shape. I don't think there's too many hot seat coaches right now looking around. Mike Gundy is the big name, and Brett Brennan, of course. I guess that's unfortunate, but yeah, he's got to make something happen this year at Arizona.
Pete, we appreciate the time. Thanks for bringing all the knowledge and all the energy. We'll talk to you again later in the season.
Hey, it's an honor to be on the show with you guys. I love what you do, and Jake Hatch is my main man. I'm always impressed by him and what you guys are pumping out, whether it's on locked on or on this station. So I appreciate you guys having me on. I'm here anytime.
Pete Sousa, host of Inside the 12 and the Pete Sousa Show, as well as an ESPN play-by-play commentator. DJ PK, it's 97.5 The Zone. Darnell Dixon is going to talk BYU quarterback battle and some of the other quotes that came out of the media availabilities for the coordinators and the head coach at BYU after Saturday's scrimmage. He's going to join us at 9 o'clock right here on The Zone. The question of the day is on the way.
This is Hanson Scotty.
Let's do it.
Kalani Sitake, what is the most you've paid for a concert ticket, and what concert was it?
For me, MC Hammer.
Oh, nice.
I had the parachute pants, you know, all that stuff ready to go. I mean, don't get me started, guys.
No,
you
we
can
won't.
still listen to the stuff right now. It's good, clean, wholesome music.
Exactly.
You know, the whole family can have parachute pants and go out.
That's true.
And then do their dances and stuff like that. You know, Can't Touch This. I mean, he even had some slow songs, you know, songs about praying.
Pray.
You know, come on, man. Like, he's got it all.
What kind of a show is this? Catch Hans Olsen and Scotty G every day from noon to 3 on 97.5 1280 The Zone, powered by KSLSports.com.
The band of the day today is Toad the Wet Sprocket. Guitarist Todd Nichols celebrating his 58th birthday. It's brought to you by Live Nation. For all the live concerts events of 2025, check out livenation.com. We just had Pete Sousa on, host of Inside the 12 on the Pete Sousa Show.
Man, I got excited. I thought we were getting free pizza because you say pizza. I thought it was pizza Uza.
Yeah.
Pizzas.
A little early for pizza.
No, it's not. We had that one time. Breakfast pizza.
Breakfast pizza.
I thought you were a big cold pizza guy in college the next morning.
I was.
So it turns out you're a phony.
It was.
Well, now you tell me it's too early.
I haven't had cold pizza for breakfast since I don't know when. That's been a while.
Go back to where you were cutting edge, where your hair just dribbled a little bit over your ear. You know?
Kind of like now.
Where you didn't tell me you got to get a haircut so the people on TV, they don't notice that you got a haircut. Yeah, like I'm going to worry about that. I'm going on TV. Either you like me or you don't.
Yeah.
And obviously they do.
They love you.
Not on. Despite others' attempts to keep me off, you can't.
Ha-ha. So what'd you think of what Pete had to say?
Well, he's certainly knowledgeable about the conference. I think that, it's just a fact that you need a marquee team that everybody points to. And if you have 2 or 3 teams, then you become the Big Ten and the SEC. And I think it's possible to do that. And it's just a one-game deal, so I'm hesitant to act like, oh, see, there's proof. But clearly the Devils showed they can hang with Texas last year, right? Nobody doubts that. And they clearly need more of that. And you're going to have to win a few. And if you lose in overtime. You know, like it was, with a controversial non-targeting call, because you can go back, they're going to protect the big brands, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And so do that. But it's going to take some time because, as he said, the great thing about the conference media day is the first time in years that, okay, this is the conference.
Right. Not only was it
it was kind of in transition for like 4 years, 5 years.
Right. Not just welcoming the last 2 years, but all that time when they were counting down till Texas and Oklahoma left.
And then they brought in 4 teams 2 years ago. Well, actually longer than that, and you had to wait a couple years before they could get in because BYU waited 2 years along with the rest. So you're literally going back like 6 years, and we finally got to where it was, all right, this is our conference. This is what we've got going forward. Now, if they can finally have some stability, at least until the end of the decade when television could change things and blah, 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 and then you can grow and build on something that you have and continue to make more money for your schools and all that stuff. I mean, it's important for this conference to be able to do that and then win some of these games, because I don't necessarily see, and maybe I'm looking at it through the rose-colored glasses, that the conference has a number of quality teams that could compete with some of the best teams in these other, particularly the other 2 conferences. I don't think it's that far-fetched that you could have 3, 4, maybe 5 teams in a good year that would be solid and near the top in the 10 in the SEC. Maybe I'm off base on this, but they're turning out pros. They've got good quarterbacks, and quarterbacks want to go where you throw the ball, where they have good coaching, those types of things, because you don't need to be in those other 2 conferences in order to be a starting quarterback in the NFL. That's just a fact, right? So they have this opportunity, and I think that's what Pete is talking about. And if they can get there, which I don't think is a huge if, they could be okay.
But stop beating each other up.
But see, I think that's okay.
You think 4 teams is 7-2, they're going to get 2 or 3 in? Because I think if they have 4 teams is 7-2, they're going to get 1
If everybody
again.
went undefeated in non-conference and you had a bunch of big wins, and it's not about this season, it's about going forward. It's not exclusively about this season. Yeah, I do think that's possible because Alabama's losing to Vanderbilt, and there's an uproar that they didn't get in.
Yeah, they're the SEC in Alabama. Being right. BYU with 2 losses was dismissed easily.
But they're not Alabama.
I know.
What? No, Alabama isn't Alabama. That's gone. Saban's gone. There's an opportunity there.
I 100% get what you're saying. 100, but I just wonder how much of the hangover continues nationally.
For a couple years it can.
Another 9-3 though, and it'll just be, hey, Alabama's a 9-3 team now.
They're a nice team,
yeah.
But they're not the one we point to They're not like BYU is in basketball, the team that we point to around the country. Right? So there's that opportunity there to get the job done. And what they need, I think this year, I think they really need the Devils to be good. And I know, you're a Devil fan, blah, 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 blah. But they need some consistency.
Well,
they started it, now continue it.
Yeah, I'm not a Devils fan, so it doesn't matter.
Actually, you're a hater.
They have really not.
You really are.
They have the cachet from last year. They have the Texas game to point at. They have
Levitt,
the defending
Dillingham.
champ. Right.
Dillingham's a name. He's young.
Yeah, the QB's back. So
right.
Cash in on that, build, because even though it should be every season stands on its own, we know it's just not like that.
Well, you got to build on it. And I think that there's an opportunity. Same thing with BYU. You know, BYU will be, if they don't have this big-time season, I think to an extent will be like it was and like it is for Utah. Well, they got caught short through no fault of their own. And everybody understands. That's why I've been saying for months, when Utah has a good season this year, which I think they will, they're going to say, oh, they're back. No, I'm going to say, no, they're not. They never went away. They just had that issue. But I get that will be the storyline because they're not following it as close as we are.
Right. But the last 6 years with Utah, when they've had 3 quarterback injuries, they had mediocre to bad seasons. And when they had the healthy quarterback, they were in the conference championship game.
So in my mind, they're not. And they don't need to be back.
And BYU, when they have a healthy quarterback, they share the conference title. The last time they had a quarterback injury, they went 5-7. Just like Utah had a quarterback injury, and they just went 5-7. All these coaches have coached together for so long, and they all have what Kyle has, right? Because they've all been in the room with him for so long at one point in their career for quite a while. And Kyle has what, as you always like to say, Fred Sr. is coaching from the great press box in the sky. So these guys, the way they recruit and the way they coach, it's so similar. The results are really similar.
Are you reluctant to say heaven on Big Fred?
No.
Okay, well, you went press box. I would have went straight to the highest levels of heaven.
Okay.
Yeah, because defense wins eternally rewards.
Okay. And when they have their QB, they've got their defense. Like Boise State has their crack, right? So they're gonna go out and win 10 games.
Great press box in the sky,
right?
And defense.
Utah had an outlier. I think
that's what they say, right?
I think they went 9-3 one time, 11-1 another. But they're basically be a 10-win team.
Offense get you?
Winning the national championship is an eternal reward. Right? BYU is certainly talking about it, and it's only been 45 years, right, since they last won. 50 years? What? How many years is it?
I'm doing math right now. Stand by. Always dangerous when I do this on the radio.
It's been 41 years.
I've messed a few things up. 41. Yes, I agree.
84 to 25.
That's an eternal reward. We're still talking about it. I stand by it. And that's the funny thing is that, quarterbacks, Scadaboo's gone, blah, blah, blah. But if you're returning 10 of 11 defensive starters, yeah,
it's not. Scadaboo's not a big factor there, right?
And I'm not talking about them too. I'm talking about BYU.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you got Jay Hill talking about the pass rush is greatly improved. Well, they sort of got pretty much everything else there. If they get the pass rush, maybe we're making such a big deal and obsessing about the quarterback.
He did call out the corners, but he was very, very complimentary of the safeties. 5 deep with 2 more knocking off the door. Well, you need 2 or 3 safeties. You got 7. You're 5 or 7. You're good to go. And he was very complimentary to the linebackers too.
Of course,
yeah, right. I mean, that's the strength that.
That's
their
linebackers rank right there with anybody. But the opportunity to rely on some defense. The Devils had their big scrimmage up at Tonazona, and the reports and talking to or listening, I didn't talk to anybody, but just listening to the stuff, the defense dominated. Well, yeah, they got just about everybody back.
Yep.
I mean, come on. You're supposed to.
Figure it out. It's not that complicated.
Yeah.
The defense is supposed to be ahead of the offense, and the defense has everybody back.
We're obsessing about quarterbacks. Maybe defenses can win some ball games like BYU did at SMU last year, and maybe that's consistent. So maybe they don't necessarily need great quarterback play. Maybe they need just pretty good quarterback play that gets better over the course of the season as the defense is a stalwart. Plus, you've got Farron who can kick. He can kick 71-yard field goals. Get out of town. 70. That's a big deal. And so, where do you want the ball on hash mark? I don't care. Stick it anywhere you want because it's going through. Next.
DJ PK's 97.5, the Zone, the AP Top 25 coming out today. What is that going to look like? That's next. Stay with us.